So, what is coming to Social Security? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today because there's been a lot of discussions that the Trump administration, the new one coming in the next 2 days, is going to completely change Social Security, going to completely change any of these social programs, and going to cause a lot of heartache and panic in millions of people. But that's not necessarily true. I want to show you what the Trump administration is planning to do, but at the same time explain why it's so difficult for lawmakers to pass anything for Social Security. So I'm going to explain all this in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, there has been a lot of talk regarding what is going to happen for Social Security. Are we going to see Social Security benefits increase? Are we going to see cuts to Social Security? Is the Social Security Administration still going to be there? Will Social Security recipients see a somewhat of a assistance in taxes? What are we going to see? Well, I was reading this article, okay, this one right here. It says what the Social Security Fairness Act tells us about the likely future of Social Security reform. Now, I thought this was a very well-written piece, and I want to read this to you because it's pointing out some very important parts of how the Social Security Fairness Act even passed. Look at this. It says passing the so-called Social Security Fairness Act sends a clear message about how Washington approaches Social Security reform, and it's a disturbing one. I want to point out one thing: the Social Security Fairness Act gave public service members or teachers, firefighters, police officers, they gave them they took away some of their benefits that they could have received for them, their spouses as well. Well, they actually got rid of that, and so now many of them are going to get a $360 per month increase. Some are going to get about an $800 per month increase, and some, about 200,000 to 300,000 people, are going to get an $1,100 increase to their benefits. And many experts say this was not the right move. Let's keep reading this. It says Congress and President Biden have chosen to ignore all expert advice, cater to organized special interest groups, and burden younger taxpayers with increasingly unaffordable costs. Now, what you need to understand is that this bill, okay, the Social Security Fairness Act, it's going to cost about another $196 billion over the next 10 years. Okay, this is a huge problem. The Social Security Trust Fund already was seeing insolvency issues. Okay, we're already on track to be insolvent by 2034, if not a little bit sooner. This is only going to speed things up. Let's keep reading this though. It says right here, we need to send a clear message to Washington. Stop the superficial quick fixes and solve the real entitlement spending challenge. What has happened over the past several years, and it's not just for Social Security, it's for many other programs as well, is we see lawmakers who are in office for only a handful of years. Okay? The president is only going to be in office for 4 to potentially 8 years. That's it. So one of the things that happens with Congress and with all our lawmakers is that they are trying to do something to pretty much give themselves a legacy. Tell their constituents that, yes, I did that for you. Right? That's what they're trying to do. It's not about making things better for the next group of lawmakers that come in, for the next generation of kids. No. It's about how can I improve this program today so that I get something out of it. That's what's happening. Let me show you this. It says, popularity trumps responsibility. Public choice theory helps explain why Congress prioritizes the demands of well-organized interest groups over the recommendations of policy experts. It says politicians are incentivized to back proposals that offer visible and immediate benefits to vocal constituencies, even if they impose long-term costs on the broader public. Keep that in mind. Okay? They offer visible and immediate benefits to their constituents. That's it. That's the issue. Okay? And I bring this to your attention because we have seen it many times over the past several months. I've told you about this before. Donald Trump has promised or proposed, let's eliminate income tax on Social Security benefits. Okay, that is something that we can do. But experts say that if we eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits, that also means that the Social Security tax that is included in that is not going back into Social Security. So essentially, if that were me and let's say I'm on Social Security, I first had to pay into Social Security because I was making a wage. Okay, so I get taxed 12.4%. And then I go and claim my benefits once I reach, let's say, full retirement age, and I get my benefit, let's say it's $2,000 a month, and I still have to pay 12.4% of Social Security tax on that as well. So I essentially get taxed twice. But that's why President Donald Trump is saying that, well, we need to eliminate this because this could actually put more money back into the pockets of Social Security recipients. But at the same time, keep this in mind, this is where it's a short-term initiative. It's just a short-term plan. Is let's give more money to these people, but in the next 8 years, we could potentially be having to cut 22% for everybody across the board simply because Social Security will be insolvent at that time. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So, let's keep reading this. It says, the Social Security Fairness Act supports public sector workers and their well-funded unions, push hard to fix what they claimed were unfair benefit cuts. It says their voices were loud, their cause was easy to understand, and their political influence significant. This is a winning combination in politics, even if the changes create unfair outcomes or worsen federal finances. That's a big one. That's exactly what happened. We are worsening the federal finances. Oh well. Now, let's read this. It says the Social Security Fairness Act increases the program's financing gap yet further. Funding this policy with additional payroll taxes would burden 180 million workers with an additional $68 in annual taxes to fund higher benefits for 3 million public sector workers and their spouses by unfairly manipulating the Social Security benefit formula to their advantage. Okay, so that means every single person, every single working person here in the United States is going to pay an additional $68 in annual taxes in order to fund those 3 million people. Yeah, do you think that is fair? That's where many people say no, it is absolutely not fair. Let's keep reading this. It says the repeal of the WEP, which is the windfall elimination provision, and the government pension offset creates outsized benefits for workers who had significant earnings that were exempt from payroll taxes compared to those who paid Social Security taxes over their entire careers. For example, economist Larry Kitlikoff highlights a school teacher whose lifetime benefits will soar to $830,000 under this law, with her annual retirement benefit more than doubling and her widow's benefit nearly tripling. Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to read this to you, okay, is because we are going to see this time and time again. We've already seen President-elect Donald Trump, reference what he can do to certain programs, but it still doesn't fix the entire picture. Now, for people that are, 80 years old, 70 years old, keep in mind Social Security is going to become insolvent in the next, 8 to 10 years. All right. Now, with that said, a lot of people are speculating, well, who should really be watching this? The people that should be watching this are those that are, 20 years old to like 50. It's a pretty large group. Okay. 20 to 50-year-olds should be watching this, because if you're 50 and let's say it becomes insolvent in the next 10 years, now you're 60. You're close to the to retirement. Now, if you're 55, okay, let's say even 20 to 55, you could potentially be impacted in a huge way. Let me read you one last thing. It says the hard truth is that Social Security's formulas and finances are a mess. Fixing them means making tough choices like raising taxes or reducing benefits. Those are unpopular changes and politicians don't want to make them. Voters do not wish to be confronted with trade-offs. Everyone likes a free lunch, even if those do not exist. Instead, politicians have demonstrated once again that the surest way to gain bipartisan support for a measure is to bestow immediate benefits on current constituents while passing the buck to the next generation in the form of higher debt. Yeah, that is something that the Trump administration is looking to crack down on, to eliminate this higher debt that we continue to accrue. But at the same time, by eliminating the debt, it means we have to eliminate benefits now. Again, it's a hard choice to make, but this is going to tell us what's going to happen in the near future. I just wanted to share this with you because, again, I thought this piece was well written, and this person's going into quite extensive detail as to how Social Security has been manipulated in the past and what this means for the future. So, hope this helps. Hope this gives you a little bit of an insight as to what we could potentially see moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.